Hey everyone, I just thought some people might be interested in seeing a day in the life behind the scenes of how I actually create and run and manage this show. So today I'm starting off with sharing how I actually schedule and bring on these guests onto the show. So let me go into actually what I do. I use this tool called Calendly, which is this really great scheduling tool that just makes it super easy to find a time to meet with me rather than me trying to look, send back and forth emails of what is actually like when you're free, does this work? I just set up this calendar, send them my link, and people are able to book a time. So what does that actually look like? So let's look at the final output first, because I feel like that might be a little more interesting. This is what my calendar looks like for a day in the life. I have people book for an hour session. I give them once they book the meeting, their web conferencing details is given to them. And I just have some information about like, hey, I'm excited to have you on the show, book a time that works for you. So let's just look at what that looks like. So somebody can click on Friday at 2 p.m., confirm the time, they type in their name, their email, and then I ask some additional questions like what's the job title you want us to include, any topic areas you wanted to talk about, because I want to make sure we talk about things people want to talk about, the guests actually want to talk about. I ask them if they're interested in trying to do it live or not. And I have them give an option if they'd like to include any links to social media, etc. They can put that there. And then I also have this consent form because yay, legal stuff. So how does one actually go in and set that up? So when you make a Calendly account, you're automatically given these default meeting types, like a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, and a 60-minute meeting. And when you set up your account for the first time, you're on the pro trial, which means you can have all these different meetings on at the same time. When it converts to free, you can only have one of these be active, just meaning that you can't send somebody a 15-minute meeting link and also send somebody a 30-minute meeting link. You have to choose, okay, I'm going to send somebody a 30-minute meeting. And if you only have like a 30-minute meeting that you're going to schedule, then that's enough for you. But if you need to have more meeting types, then you can do that. And the way to set that up is to set up a new calendar. Maybe that's more specific to something. You go to new event type. And just for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to talk about the other options, but if you're interested in knowing about it, you can check out Calendly's documentation or ask me to do a video on it in the comments. But we're going to look at creating a one-on-one event type, meaning that you send the link to somebody, just one person, and then they book an event with you. So let's create this new one called Behind the Scenes, and I am typing on the fly, meaning I can't type. And then you can choose a location. So if it's in person, you can set the address, phone call, you can set in all these things. Well, I'm using Zoom, so I have it connected with Zoom, but if you want a custom link, at work, we use WebEx, so we put the WebEx link in there. But for Zoom, I have it connected to Zoom so that whenever somebody actually books a time, they get a unique auto-generated Zoom link, which is nice because then it protects from the Zoom bombing. So then if you can add in any descriptions and stuff. I'm not going to try to type again, so I won't do that. And then you can also change the link if you want. You can make that link be more, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. You can also change your personal link too. I made mine Rachel MS because I just wanted to. Then here are the actual settings of how to set up your calendar. So when you're creating your Calendly account, it'll prompt you to integrate it into your existing calendars, which is really nice. So I integrated mine with my Gmail account. And so anytime I put something on my Google Calendar, it automatically takes it off of my Calendly, so I don't have to worry about that. But then in Calendly, I wanted to set up some default times. So I have, well, first, let's talk about this date range. You can set it within a certain number of days. So you can be like, all right, I only want to talk to people in the next month. So you can set it within 30 days or 60. You can set it to be like, okay, I'm only scheduling these one-on-ones until the end of August. So I'm going to set it to there. or you can do indefinitely into the future. So just as if this is some kind of rolling thing and you trust your calendar to be up to date, then just do that. You can set how long you want it to be. And then you can use an existing schedule, which is something you can pre-set up. So the one I set up for a day in the life is after my work hours is like 5 to 8. This is when people can book me. But what I kind of like looking at is this custom hours view. And I like looking at in this calendar view where I can be like, okay, well, I know on this particular Monday coming up, I signed up for a yoga class or a dance class. So let me actually make my availability only be between 5 and 6 p.m. because my class is at 7. And if it's a regular thing, you can apply it to a bunch. You can change your default schedule that way. I know that maybe say I know I'm going to be around this weekend where otherwise I had said I was unavailable. So let me just put that I'm available from 9 to 5. So you can edit that. And then this is something I really like is, okay, so maybe I did set it up from 9 to 5, but I really just don't want people booking me back to back because I want a break. I want to get up and move. And I'm also an introvert. I can't talk to people for hours. So you can add as much like an hour or even more between events. So I can be like, okay, nobody can book, somebody's booked an event, you can't book me an hour before that or an hour after that. I want an hour to get ready and then I want an hour to decompress, let's say. You can also just on your calendar be like, let's show it in every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know, that's all too specific, or I could see like for every 30 minutes or every hour. I guess it depends on how long your meeting is, but by default, I'm just like, okay, people can book at like 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30, and have it be increments of 30. I really like these scheduling conditions because, like I said, I'm an introvert and I want to have like, okay, only like 1 to 3 event types per day. So cap it at 3, only 3 interviews per day, but even that's kind of pushing it. Maybe I'd really just like to have 1 per day. And then what I really like about this is I can set how many they can't schedule within how many hours. So I put 24 hours. You could also just be like 1 day, but I want a little bit of advance notice before they schedule something with me. Maybe I want actually 2 days so I can have time to come up with topics and send that to them and get their social media details. So that's something that's pretty important. I like is being able to set that. Then being able to detect their time zone is pretty good too, because I work with people at least all over the country and potentially all over the world. So let's make sure that their show times are detected instead of it just being like, oh, try to figure out Pacific time. So it's pretty nice. And I could make this secret, so maybe they only have that link. But anyway, that is that. That is how you you set it up at a high level. So let's look at that. And here's that. But notice when I go book a time, I only have these like default questions. So if I want to have more questions, I need to go back in here and where is that? Oh, invitee questions. So by default, you're collecting their name and email. You kind of need that. But then if you want to get anything else, you can ask like a multiple choice question, have them write like a multi-line description of something, check boxes, whatever you want. You can ask for their phone number. You can change, why am I typing? I should know better. Change the text. You can change the text. There you go. And yeah, that's a pretty cool feature. I'm going to just cancel that because it's not that interesting. So this workflows thing I'm not going to talk about because this is something in the paid plan. But in the free plan, if you want just to be nice, you can make it set up to be that you're sending somebody a calendar invite when they actually book a time. So then it actually just invites them to schedule this on their calendar, and then they can just hit accept. And so you can also change the details of the calendar invite. By default, it's like invitee full name and my name. I liked to change it to the event name, but you can change all that yourself. It's pretty nice. And then if you want to make sure they don't forget, you can set up an email reminder and you can personalize that with just some additional information, especially if you feel like saying, this is a friendly reminder, it's super formal sounding, you can kind of change it to sound more like what you want. And you can change exactly when that's going to be sent out. You can also send out an email follow-up, like a thank you note or something like that. So it's really nice and I like it a lot, and I highly, highly recommend Calendly. So that's the process I do at a high level. If you have any questions, you want me to dive more deeply into something, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, thanks for watching. And next week, I will go into actually how I'm managing all of that in Airtable. I love Airtable. It's a great tool. So I will see you next week. All right. Bye.